at this point, correct? And we're forced to move how based on this slope. So if your slope is -2, how are we moving from that point? Colin?
Down to
Bingo. What do you mean by over though?
to the right.
Excellent. You must move down 2 and then to the right 1. Down 2 and then to the right 1. Guys, most of us were getting down 2. Who can tell me why we have to move to the right by 1? Gabriel?
Because your slope should always be over 1.
Very good. It's -2 over 1. Now, it doesn't always have to be over 1, but when it's given as a whole number, like -2, you do put it over 1. And that 1 needs to be positive or negative? Positive, okay? Now, we could also move up to, but if we move up to, where do we have to go after that? To the left one. Do you guys see that? All still part of the same line. Now, if you continue your line, what point becomes your y-intercept? So my y-intercept, it's not -1, it's -2. Do you guys see that? Nick, you with me? Okay. What happened, David? How is it -2? Well, mine's kind of off, but do you see how my graph, my line will cross the y-axis at -2? Does that make a little bit more sense? No?
It looks like it's crossing over -1.
I know, I did a bad job. I can't draw a perfectly straight line, guys, because I'm not using Notability. But let's just erase this and make it look better for you guys. I agree, it doesn't look like it's crossing. So let's just make it like this. Is that better?
Oh, got it.
Does that clear up any issues? But we still need to write the equation. We still need to write the equation of the line.
Why?
Andrea?
Y equals -2x -2.
Let's go! -2x minus 2. How many of us got this one before I went over it? Okay, awesome. Okay. Now, the second or the first one, it's doable, but it's not obvious what the y-intercept is. This is what we're learning today. Today, what we're going to learn is we're not given the y-intercept, so how do we find it? Okay, so scroll over to the first one, okay? And we're going to start at this point, but we're moving a little bit differently now. Who can tell me what a movement would be for a slope of 1/2? How would we move if our slope is 1/2? Austin?
1 up and 2 right.
Excellent. Rise 1 and go 2 to the right. Or I can go down 1 and to the left 2. Down 1 and to the left 2. Now, you're going to see when you draw your line, is it completely obvious what my y-intercept is? It's not, right? Why is it not obvious? Austin?
It's not on the point.
Yeah, it lies in between what two values?
1 and 0.
1 and 0, right? Now, I know, because I did this problem, the y-intercept is actually 1/2, okay? But we didn't know this for sure. And I want you guys to highlight this area right here. Okay, so highlight that area, and I want you to write a little note to yourself. This is what we learn today. And yes, Karen, you are correct. That is the y-intercept, okay? So we're going to be able to find the y-intercept when we're not given the y-intercept, okay? Now, that means that we learn a new form, okay? Do you guys remember the form that we used all of last lesson? We used it all of last lesson. What form was it? Y equals mx plus b. And that form had a name. It's called slope intercept form. Okay? We are learning a new form today. Now, part of learning this new form is understanding what the form is, and part of it is understanding how we use it and when we use it. Okay? Lesson 4.2. Guys, we're learning about something called point slope form. Underline that. Okay? We use point slope form, and write this down, when we are not given the y-intercept. Okay? When we don't know the y-intercept, we are going to be using point-slope form. Now, that means we are no longer using y equals mx plus b for these examples. Because what form was that? Slope intercept, okay? Notice the name. Point slope, slope intercept. So for point slope form, guys, we can use any point and the slope. For slope intercept, you need the slope and what point specifically? The y-intercept. So point slope, can you use any point? Yes, you can use any point that you want, as long as it's on that line. For slope intercept form, you need to use the slope and the y-intercept, okay? So when we're writing equations in the point slope form, okay, take a look down here. This is what we call point slope form. It's y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Now, m still represents what?
Slope.
The slope, okay? But now, x1 and y1 are any point on your line. So the x1 comma y1 is just a singular point that you're using in that formula. Okay? All right, let's try one. So, in letter A, okay, we're given a point and we're given the slope. And in the instructions, it says write an equation in point slope form, not slope intercept form, of the line that passes through the given point and has the given slope. This point in the past was the y-intercept. Do you guys agree? We did not do a problem where they did not give us the y-intercept. Is this the y-intercept? How do you know it's not the y-intercept? X is -8, not 0. Do you guys see that? So automatically we know, okay, we're not using slope intercept form. We have to use point slope form, okay? We know the slope is 1/4. And this point, we're just going to label it x1 and y1, okay? Now, for the first two examples, I'm going to write the equation every time so we can get a visual of like where we're plugging stuff into. The equation is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And we have every single value except for x and y, okay? So we're just going to plug those in. Use different colors as a highlighter so you can visually see it. But we're going to grab this 3 and put him right here where y1 is. We're going to take this m, which is 1/4, and we're going to substitute him for this m over here. And we're going to take this -8 and substitute him for this x1. So let's write it all out. It's going to be y minus what? 3 equals m, which is now 1/4 times x minus -8. Did you guys hear that? Minus a -8. And this is my answer. Okay? This is point slope form. Now, I'm going to make you guys make one small change. What can still be simplified here? There's something that I really don't like, how we wrote it. AJ? Distribute the 1/4, but then you'd be converting it out of point slope form. We want to leave it like this. We want it to look like this, but there's one thing that we can simplify. McCarvin?
You could put the -8 and the negative together.
Good. When two negatives are written next to each other, what are they actually? A positive. So it's y minus 3 equals 1/4 x plus 8. We are going to leave it like this because it wanted it in what form? point slope form, okay? This is our answer in point slope form. We will be changing this into slope intercept form, but not right now, okay? It wanted it in point slope form. This is how we answer the problem. Let's do one more and then I'm gonna set you guys loose, okay? Let's do B. Can we use slope intercept form here?
No.
Why not? We need to understand why not.
X is not equal to 1.
What?
X is not, X is not equal to 0.
Good. This x value is not 0, okay? So we are not given the y-intercept. So it's y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Yes? Someone take a shot. Caden, look alive. What is it? Yep, substitute it in. Very good. You guys, how come Caden got y plus 1? How come Caden got y plus 1? AJ? Because, yeah, this y value was a negative, okay? Whenever you're putting in a negative and it's minus a negative, that's automatically going to be a positive. Do we see that? Are there questions on this example? Karen? Okay, so do you agree this is going to be y minus a negative 1? Y minus negative 1 is just y plus 1. Okay? All right, try C on your own. Go. Okay, did we get y minus 0 equals negative 2/3, x minus 4? You got x minus 0. Remember, the x1 value is this 4. The y1 value is this 0, okay? I would expect you guys to simplify one thing. Does anyone know what it is? Gabriel?
They got the 0.
Good. Why?
It has no value.
Good. So y minus 0 is just? So this should be y equals 2 over 3, negative 2 over 3, x minus 4. This is how I expect your answers to look. Are there any questions removing that 0 from the equation, Mia?
You can take points off if you leave it.
Yes, at least one, okay? And what form is this called? Point slope. We need to know our definitions. Slope intercept and point slope for tomorrow, or for Wednesday, okay? All right. Now, we're going to skip the orange and the red part. We'll see if we have time for that tomorrow, okay? But now we're going to do the same thing we did in the last lesson, right? Where we're given 2 points. So we don't know what right now if we only have 2 points. We don't know the slope. And we also weren't given the y-intercept. So these are 2 random points on the graph. Do you guys agree? But we know that there's a line that goes between them, correct? So let's first find, what do you think we start by finding? The slope. So let's find m. Do you guys remember how to find m when we're given 2 points? Mia?
y2 minus y1 over x2 minus.
You're the best. This is y2, this will be y1, this will be x2, and this will be x1. So what is it going to be when I'm substituting in? Negative 2 minus 2
Over 3 minus 1.
3 minus 1. Absolutely. All right, guys, who's good with those negatives? What's negative 2 minus 2? Andrea? Good, it's negative 4. And 3 minus 1? 2. Negative 4 divided by 2. It's negative 2. Good job, Salucci. So my slope is what? Negative 2. Now, remember, it's point slope form. Do you guys agree? You guys listening to me? Point slope form. Does it matter what the point is? No. So could we use either of these points? Yes. For my purposes, so I'm consistent, I will always be using whatever I used for x1 and y1. Are we clear? But could you use 3, negative 2? Yes. Okay. So I'm just going to circle this guy so I know I'm using him. Okay. And I'm going to write my point slope form. So it's y minus what?
Y1.
Which is 2. equals, what goes next?
-2.
The -2, which was the what?
M.
The m, the slope, okay? Times x minus 1. Andrea?
Is this slope intercept form?
Uh-huh, we'll get there. So, in the last examples, if you read the instructions, it said that it wanted the equation in what form? Point slope. This one wants it in what form? Slope intercept. So watch what we're going to do. We're going to have to change this guy and isolate y. Do you guys agree? So, first thing that we do is we distribute this -2. Distribute this -2 and tell me what you get. We get y minus 2 equals, Matthew?
Negative 2x plus 2.
There we go. How did you get plus 2? AJ?
Negative times a negative is positive.
Good. Make sure this negative is with the 1, okay? So a -2 times a -1 gives me a positive 2. Juliana, you with me? Emma? Okay. I still have one thing to do because this is not slope-intercept form yet. What do I need to do? Emma? Bingo. Add 2 to both sides. What do I get? What's my final answer in slope-intercept form? Carvin?
Y equals -2x plus 4.
How come we added 2?
How come we added 2? Well, do you agree that in order to be in slope-intercept form, it's y equals mx plus b? We can't have y minus a number. So we add 2 to both sides, so we isolate.
How come we didn't subtract 2?
Oh, you wanted to subtract 2? But -2 minus 2, that'll keep -4 on the left. Do you see that? We want to get rid of this -2. And to undo an operation, you have to do the opposite. The opposite of subtraction is addition. Okay? What's my y-intercept now?
4.
It's 4. Okay, so do you guys know what the y-intercept is? Now we can tell by using this sequence of steps. Okay? Let's do one more together and then I'll let you guys try one on your own. Okay? We're going to do C together and we'll save B for you guys. Okay? So in C, let's do it. Okay? Do you guys remember what I did first last time? Mike, Matthew?
M equals -4.
Okay, so you're making this your y2?
Yeah.
Perfect. -4.
-1. Line.
Mm-hmm.
That was a negative.
Hold on. Let him finish, David. 8
-1. Wait, no, -4.
-4. Matthew, I'm so glad that you did this. Why? Because you did make a mistake, but it's a very common mistake that a lot of the students make, okay? So I want to address it. Does anyone know what mistake Matthew made? Mia?
You didn't add the negative.
Good. There should be 2 negatives here because we're subtracting a negative value. And Matthew, you're not the only one, okay? Guys, we make this a lot, okay? So write this down. It should be -4 minus -1 and 8 minus a -4. If you did that, you're going to end up with a completely different slope, okay? What's -4 minus -1? It's -4 plus 1. Do you guys agree? And this is going to be 8 plus 4, correct? -4 plus 1 is -3. And 8 plus 4? 12. Can you divide 3 by 12? No. But you can simplify, okay? This is not 4, guys. It's going to be -1/4, okay?
Oh, 3 divided by 12.
Correct.
Oh.
You can divide 12 by 3, but you can't divide 3 by 12. So it's going to remain a fraction. Do we understand that? So this 3 can divide by 3, you get 1. This 12 can divide by 3, you get 4. So we're going to end up with -1/4. Let's use the first point, -4, -1. And let's do y minus -1 equals -1/4 times x minus -4. Can we leave it in point slope form? Not for these examples. It wanted it in slope intercept form. So what can I do?
When you want- distribute
McCarvin?
the neg-
Where you, add the negatives together first, and then.
Ah, well, yes, we do need to combine these negatives. What's x minus -4 and y minus -1? They're positives, right? So this is going to be y plus 1 equals -1/4 times x plus 4. Good job, McCarvin. What's next?
you distribute.
Distribute. Very good, David. So we distribute the -1/4 to x and to 4. Be careful here. What do I get? It's going to be y plus 1 over here. This side doesn't change.
You flip it now.
No. Only flip when you divide by a fraction.
So it'll be -1/4 times 4/1.
Times x. And then this one, yes, it would be -1/4. I'm going to pull this over here. Times 4/1. -1 times 4 gives me -4 over 4. What's 4 divided by 4? 1. So it's y plus 1 equals -1/4 x minus 1. Mia.
How did you get the 4/4?
Okay, because do you agree that 4 as a fraction is 4/1? Okay, so 4/1 times 1/4, 1 times 4 gives me 4, and 4 times 1 gives me 4, so I get 4/4.
Hey, we don't hear like this.
We don't, why not?
You are not isolated.
Y is not isolated. Does anyone know what we need to do as the last step? Austin? Yeah, subtract 1 from both sides. So we're going to get y equals -1/4 x minus 2. What's my y-intercept? -2. And my slope? -1/4. Can you guys try B on your own? Try it. Go. Okay, check it with what's on the screen and check with your groups. You have 30 seconds. Go. In the warm-up when I was like, we can't really